morning and a very warm welcome. You are watching JanataTelevision and this is the English Bulletin with me, Anustha Acharya. The top stories first. CPN Unified Socialist holds first Politburo meeting. Leaders urged to focus on upcoming election. Foreign Minister Narayan Khadka heading for Turkey today. Nepal reiterates its stance of peaceful resolution to Russia-Ukraine crisis. NOC still facing loss despite price hike. Government to provide NOC with rupees 4.25 billion to pay its dues. European leaders warn of banning Russian gas. British Prime Minister calls for step-by-step move from Russian fuel. And Nepal defeats Sri Lankan team in practice match. The national team is playing 4 matches in Sri Lanka. Nepal has presented the political reports in the first Politburo meeting of the party yesterday. Chairman Nepal's report includes the status of the party's organizational structure, review of MCC, latest political developments, and preparations for the upcoming election. Majority of Politburo members expressed their views over the report presented by Chairman Nepal, which also includes the party's upcoming work plans. The party's publicity department chief Jagannath said that the party must be focused on the upcoming local elections at the moment. He said that the party's main task is to unify the activists for the local polls. The Politburo meeting has also fixed the agenda of the Central Committee meeting slated for coming Wednesday. Foreign Minister Narayan Khadka has said that there will be a high-level visit to Nepal soon. A report. Today, Minister Khadka said that the high-level visit will be of a head of the state or a prime minister, but did not mention who will be visiting Nepal. Foreign Minister Khadka made such remark on the eve of his week-long visit to Turkey at the invitation of his Turkish counterpart. Minister Khadka is leaving for Turkey later today. The 3-member delegation led by Minister Khadka will participate in the Antalya Diplomacy Forum to be held from March 11 to 13. According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the event will bring together politicians, diplomats and policymakers from around the world, including South Asia, to discuss existing regional and international issues and their solutions. He also reiterated Nepal's stance of seeking peaceful solution of the Russia-Ukraine dispute through diplomacy and dialogue. Sharing that 533 Nepalis rescued from Ukraine had reached safer destinations, Foreign Minister Khadka mentioned that the Nepali embassies in Moscow and Berlin were mobilized for the rescue efforts. Minister Khadka further said that the government is doing its best to ensure smooth operation of trade with China. Diplomatic initiatives are being taken with the Chinese side to increase the number of cargo vehicles into the country, the minister added. The internal rift within Maoist Center has widened over the selection of central members. As per the statute of the party, there has to be 299 central members. Among them, 15% must be nominated. Chairman Pushpakamal Dahal recommended names of 97 leaders during the meeting of 246 Central Committee members. With the recommendation of the chairman, the number of central leaders is expected to reach 344. Dahal had a plan to include 86 leaders as alternative members, but the plan was not implemented during yesterday's meeting. So the meeting failed to give full shape to the Central Committee. However, 53 new members were added to the Central Committee by the meeting. The meeting also agreed to stay united for the upcoming election. The upcoming Central Committee meeting of the party will discuss about the MCC agenda.
MCC को एजेन्डामा उठेका केही विषयहरू थिए, आशंकाहरू थिए, त्यसमा छलफल बहस गर्ने कुराहरू थिए। त्यो कुरालाई हामीले एउटा समझदारी बनाएर यसको छलफल बहस जेठको 20 गते बस्ने केन्द्रीय समितिमा गर्ने भनेर त्यति बेलासम्मको लागि सबै एजेन्डालाई हामीले स्थगित गर्यौं।
The party had been deferring the nomination of leaders due to internal differences among the leaders. The party has been saying that it has to focus on election. National flag carrier Nepal Airlines Corporation has received permission to operate flights to Riyadh, Dammam and Jeddah of Saudi Arabia. According to NAC's Executive Chairman Yubaraj Adhikari, the Civil Aviation Office, General Authority of Civil Aviation of Saudi Arabia, has provided approval to make two-way flights to three cities of Riyadh, Dammam and Jeddah of Saudi Arabia. Earlier, Executive Chairman Adhikari and other officials had visited Saudi Arabia for the process to receive approval. The NSC said it plans to operate 3 flights a week from Kathmandu, Riyadh, Kathmandu from next month in the first phase. The Saudi Arabia government had given approval to the NSC for operating flights in 2002 and 2020 as well, but it did not happen then due to the lack of aircrafts and poor management. This is Janata Bulletin. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back after the break. We continue with other national news. The government yesterday confirmed 66 new cases of coronavirus across the country. The total cases of coronavirus in the country have climbed to 977,567, while the number of active cases has dropped to 6,461. Coronavirus claimed 1 more lives across the country, taking the death toll to 11,948. Nepal is currently among top 57 countries that have been most affected by the pandemic. The USA tops the list with over 80.97 million confirmed cases, followed by India with more than 42.97 million cases. Coronavirus has infected more than 447.69 million people across the world and claimed over 6.02 million lives. The Medical Education Commission has proceeded towards action against Biratnagar-based Noble Medical College. The college has been accused of charging its MBBS students additional fees and troubling them under various pretexts. Yesterday's meeting of the Education and Health Committee under the House of Representatives took a decision to this effect. Vice Chairperson of the Commission, Dr. Sri Krishna Giri, warned that the MBBS quotas for the college would be decreased or scrapped and its affiliation annulled. Dr. Giri said that they had been asking the college not to charge its students extra fees, but it did not heed the request. He added that the board meeting of the commission on March 18 would take appropriate decision on this matter. On the occasion, the chairperson of the commission, Jayapuri Gharti, said that there were difficulties in controlling medical colleges from charging MBBS students additional fees due to the various reasons. She stressed the need for creating environment conducive for students to pursue their education by sorting out the problems through coordination among the commission, the college and the local district administration. It has been more than 15 years since the government signed the comprehensive peace agreement with the then Maoist rebels. However, even today the victims of the armed conflict are not able to feel relief. A report. 15 years after the signing of the Comprehensive Peace Agreement, the Maoists who led the armed movement have been raising their voices from time to time about concluding the peace agreement. However, the victims of the conflict have not been able to get relief even after knocking the door of justice. During a program organized in Kathmandu on the occasion of International Women's Day on Monday, stakeholders discussed about the incidents of exploitation of humans during the conflict and gender equality. Women's rights activities says that not only women and children but also men were exploited during the conflict and that voices should be raised against.
महिला सांसदहरूलाई ल्याएर यहाँ जवाफदेही बनाउन खोज्नु भएको छ, प्रतिबद्धता खोज्नु भएको छ, झकझकाउन खोज्नु भएको छ र हामीलाई नै पनि जवाफदेही बना है तिमीहरू पनि तिमीहरू के गर्दैछौ भनेर सोध्नु भएको छ। यो महत्त्वपूर्ण खालको हो र यो चाहिँ सबै सरकारवालाहरूले यस्तै गर्यो भनेदेखि हामी चाहिँ राम्रैसँग काम गर्छौँ होला, अलि बढी प्रभावकारी हुन्छौँ होला जस्तो मलाई लाग्छ।
For 2 decades, laws have been made in accordance with the Constitution for the victims, and the human rights and other commissions have been demanding implementation of the laws so that such acts do not get repeated again. According to CPN Maoist Central member Anita Pariyar, the society has not changed its attitude towards women, and conflict is a sensitive and inhuman act which has a direct impact on women and children.
द्वन्द्व भन्ने कुरा आफैमा पनि संवेदनशील र अमानवीय हो किनभने शान्ति तथा चाहिँ पुनर्निर्माणको चाहिँ सिलसिलामा द्वन्द्वको परिभाषा गरिरहँदाखेरि त्यति सहज र त्यति सरल हुँदैन र अझ त्यसले पार्ने प्रभाव र क्षतिका कुरा त तपाईँ हामीले सम्झिँदा पनि हाम्रो आङ सिङ्ग हुन्छ।
Similarly, Samina Hussain, member of the House of Representatives of the CPN Unified Socialist, said that the country needs to be serious about the citizenship of the children born by the raped women, as the victims of the armed conflicts are still suffering mentally. According to Puspa Bhusal, chief whip of the Nepali Congress Party, all parties should raise their voice on this issue as the politics of 2062 and 63 BS is not complete, and this problem belongs to the nation and all political parties. And now the news from economic front. The government has decided to provide financial assistance to the Nepal Oil Corporation to purchase petroleum products. The government took such decision after the accumulated savings of the state-owned oil monopoly dropped to sub-zero level. A report. A meeting of the Price Stabilization Fund yesterday decided to provide Rs 4.25 billion the corporation to pay the first installment of OAS to the Indian Oil Corporation. Even after the price adjustment of petroleum products last Thursday, the NOC insists that it is expecting a loss of around Rs 2.5 billion in 15 days. The purchase price of the NOC has been increasing due to the recent rise in price of crude oil in the international market. The corporation had sought funds from the government after the first installment to the IOC due to March was insufficient. The corporation has been paying installments to IOC on the 8th and 23rd of every month. Prior to this, the Stabilization Fund had provided Rs 1.80 billion to the NOC in January. NOC spokesperson Binit Mani Upadhyaya said that the decision of the government to provide funds to the NOC would help in keeping the supply of petroleum products smooth. Time for a short break here at Janata Bulletin. Stay tuned for international news. Welcome back. Now the international news. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has called for a step-by-step move away from dependence on Russian oil and gas as a result of the Ukraine war. After talks with the Canadian and Dutch Prime Ministers, Johnson said nations have to work together to secure alternatives. And in Germany, Chancellor Olaf Scholz cautioned against banning Russian oil and gas. In a statement, he said Europe had exempted Russian energy from sanctions because its supply cannot be secured any other way at the moment. Meanwhile, Russia warned that oil prices could surge to Rs $300 a barrel, and it might close the main gas pipeline to Germany if the West halted oil imports over the invasion of Ukraine. Johnson also announced a further €157 million of UK support for Ukraine, and Mr. Trudeau said Canada would sanction 10 more Russian oligarchs and officials. Later, the Prime Minister joined a call with Mr. Scholz, US President Joe Biden and French President Emmanuel Macron, where they said they were determined to continue raising the costs on Ukraine over its invasion of Ukraine. The UK has also been criticized after it emerged that only about 50 refugees have been granted visa to enter the country as of Sunday. You are watching Janata Bulletin, and now the latest from the world of sports. Nepal defeated Sri Lanka Navy Sports Club in a practice match by 111 runs thanks to an inspired performance by Nepali bowlers. Chasing a target of 215 runs set by Nepal, the home side were all out in 28.5 overs with 103 runs on board during one day's match. Sri Lanka's Navi Madhusanka top scored 39 runs off 68 balls for the team. No other batsman was able to put up a good show. Nepal's keeper Sandeep Lamichhane took 3 wickets in 7.5 overs including a maiden and given away 18 runs. Likewise, Gyanendra Malla took 2 wickets in his own over spell giving away 8 runs. Bikram Soph took 2 wickets while Kiran Kesi, Kamal Singh Aire and Sagar Dahal bagged a wicket each. Earlier, Nepal won the toss and opted to bat first. The visitors were all out in 37.1 overs with 214 runs on board. Nepal's Dipendra Singh Aire top scored 43 runs of 52 balls that included 3 fours in a 6. Opener Kusal Bhurtel was run out with 16 runs in his name while another opener Asif Sheikh scored 36 runs before being run out. Gyanendra Malla was bowled for just 1 run. Rohit Kumar Paudel contributed 13 runs and Binod Bhandari scored 22 while Kamal Singh Aire 16, Kiran Kesi 16, Sandeep Lamichhane 11 and Sagar Dahal 13 also contributed to the total. Nepal received 16 extra runs. Sri Lanka Navy spinner Arvind took 4 wickets in 9.1 over giving away 59 runs while Awadat took 3 wickets in 10 overs. Nepal is playing practice matches in Sri Lanka as the preparation for the ICC World Cup League 2 to be held in the UAE next week. Nepal will reach the UAE on March 14 to compete against the UAE and Papua New Guinea under the new World Cup League 2 from March 16 to March 22. We are at the end of Janata Bulletin and the headlines once again. CPN Unified Socialist holds first Politburo meeting. Leaders urged to focus on upcoming election. Foreign Minister Naren Khadga heading for Turkey today. Nepal reiterates its stance of peaceful resolution to Russia-Ukraine crisis. NOC still facing loss despite price hike. Government to provide NOC with rupees 4.25 billion to pay its dues. European leaders warn of banning Russian gas. British Prime Minister calls for step-by-step move from Russian fuel. And Nepal defeats Sri Lankan team in practice match. The national team is playing 4 matches in Sri Lanka. And that's all from the English News Desk for today. You can follow Janata Television and our programs on various social media platforms, including on our website janatasamachar.com. Keep watching Janata Television. Namaste.